even Jacob. She seemed surprised by my answer. 2 nights later, I walked past Bristol's room and heard her on the phone with someone. Through the door, I heard her say she was deleting his number now. She wasn't crying or dramatic about it. The next morning, she mentioned casually during breakfast that she'd boxed up the Michigan hoodie and some other stuff. She asked if we could donate it somewhere. I said sure and didn't make a big deal about it. Abigail had taught me to acknowledge progress without overwhelming celebration that might cause backsliding. Father's Day came on a Sunday with no special plans. I woke up to Bristol making noise in the kitchen. She'd made scrambled eggs and toast, even attempted coffee in the machine. We sat at the table together for the first time in months without phones or distractions. She mentioned missing her mom. I said I missed her too. We talked for maybe 5 minutes about small memories, nothing heavy. She'd made my coffee with 2 sugars just how I liked it. The gesture meant more than any card could have. Summer school kept Bristol busy during the days. She met 2 girls in her English class who didn't go to her regular school. They didn't know anything about Jacob or the whole mess. I'd see them laughing at the pickup area, making plans for the mall or movies. Normal teenage stuff that made my chest feel lighter. One afternoon, I watched from the car as Bristol showed them something on her phone, and they all cracked up. Her laugh sounded real, not forced or fake. These new friends invited her to a pool party for the 4th of July. I met the parents, verified supervision, and let her go. Progress looked like trusting her with normal activities again. My anger management classes started the first week of July. The instructor was this older guy who'd been teaching the course for 20 years. He had us introduce ourselves and explain why we were there. I said I punched my son after discovering something disturbing. He nodded like he'd heard worse. The techniques were actually helpful, especially the stuff about recognizing physical warning signs before losing control. We learned breathing exercises and counting methods. I practiced them at home when Bristol tested boundaries. One evening, I shared the counting technique with her when she was getting worked up about curfew. She actually tried it instead of mocking me. By the 3rd week of classes, I understood better how grief from losing my wife had made everything else feel more threatening. The instructor explained how unprocessed loss could make people react violently to protect what remained. That hit home hard. Late July brought news through mutual friends that Jacob had graduated but skipped the ceremony. Someone's mom who worked at the university mentioned seeing his name on the list, but not seeing him walk. Bristol was doing homework at the kitchen table when I got the text. I watched her face as I mentioned it casually. She paused her writing for maybe 10 seconds. Her eyes got watery, but she blinked it away and went back to her math problems. Later that night, I heard her crying softly in her room, but she didn't come to me, and I didn't go to her. Some things she needed to process alone. The next week, Abigail sat us down in her office and pulled out her calendar. She flipped through the pages and suggested we could move to every other week now since we'd been making real progress. Bristol shifted in her seat and said she wanted to keep coming through summer to work on her own stuff. Abigail nodded and penciled us in for the next 2 months. I went back to work full-time the following Monday after taking